Hello and welcome to episode 262 of PhotoKitchen. I'm your humble host, MD Welch, and today on the menu, we're talking about what is inside my camera bag. These are super popular videos on YouTube, so I figured why not share with you what I'm carrying around in 2024 for my photography. I do want to stress that I don't have any video gear in here outside of the fact that yes, my cameras will capture video, but I've separated or consolidated all my video gear into other compartments or cases. So that way, if I need to do a video job, I grab those cases, they're compartmentalized, that's what I meant, and then I know what I have in each particular case. In this particular case, it's photo only, although this does go out on video jobs because of the lenses inside of it. Outside of that, this is 100% photography related, but it does go with me everywhere, so let's dive right into it. First of all, the pack or the case itself. This is by ThinkTank Photo. It is a Mindshift pack, so it's their Mindshift line. This is essentially if a expedition backpack and a camera case made sweet, sweet love, this would be its adorable children. It is a, really, it's a hiking backpack, a backpacking pack. If you've ever seen one, it has all of the stuff. It even has ice axe loops. Dear ThinkTank Photo, what do you think I'm doing with this particular case? Ice axe loops, but you could use them to hold other gear as well. But it has a great suspension system, which is a big reason why I purchased this. I had the Airport Extreme, I think that's its name, pack. I still do. It's hauling around lights now, but that thing would get overloaded, overweighed, and it would just wreak havoc on my back. I'm sometimes, a mile, 2 miles of trekking to get to a particular location. I need something that can support that weight. So we have quality straps, padding here, an actual hip belt system that actually does what it's supposed to do and take the weight off of your shoulders and put it on your hips. It's well ventilated. It can support a bladder or hydration system if you want to. It has all of the tie downs, the loops, the webbing, the dials, the buttons, the whistles, all of it. It is here, and you can actually even put more stuff or load more stuff onto this than I currently have in here. And I've put light stands on here, tripods on here, and I'll show you that in a moment. But this is a fantastic pack and case. As far as external features, I've already covered the straps. It does have a rubberized boot or bottom on the bottom of the case here for some waterproofing, and it does utilize the main compartment being on the strap side. So you lay the pack down like this, so you don't have to worry about getting your straps dirty or muddy. Although we will talk about that waterproofing issue on the other side a little bit later on. Again, it has all of your straps here, your tie downs. This is where your tripod could live. There's a little pouch down here that you could open up, tuck in your tripod, have your straps come around the top here. It has side pockets. It has these little loops. Again, a ton of stuff, these loops on the top of the case. It is fantastic. It holds a ton of stuff. Can't say enough good things about it. So let's talk about the major storage areas. On the back, that's the biggest storage area. Again, as I mentioned before, you have your main compartment here. You unzip this, as we'll see in a second. This is where you're going to store the meat of your photography gear. It's the largest area to have. There's a little pouch over here on the side of the hip belt, so you can put some stuff here, snacks, waters, whatever you need. The other hip belt does have some loops here, so you could strap on something, a medical kit, another pack if you wanted to, but you have your main compartments here. On the back top of the pack, you have what backpackers call the brain. And this particular pack has a removable brain. You could turn it into a fanny pack. I'm never going to use that, but it is a nice feature. But there's a nice compartment area up top here. If you remove the brain, you can see in both of these angles, there's a pouch up here at the top that you could unzip and you get access to this. The brain pouch and this top pouch of the pack, they hold a fair amount of stuff, honestly. And they have, again, their pros and their cons. On the front of the pack, actually, I should have left the brain unbolted there, and you can see how this folds over. You have, and I got to undo these side loop straps here. See if I can do this blindly on the other side. There we go. You have two main compartments. This first compartment can hold a couple of different things. It's large. You could jam whatever you want into here, primarily for hydration and or laptop, as we'll see a little bit later on. There's also this other zipper area here. This is what's going to make contact with the ground when you lie it down. So, and we'll talk about the pros and cons of that. And again, all the straps, the bells, and the whistles. So let's go ahead and dive into this pack. Again, your back, your straps, everything is going to be clean because you're putting it down on the ground to gain access to it. There are some cons to that. I'll show you in a second. It's not all all roses, but we'll get into that a little bit later. As you open this up, this is your main compartment. You do have storage in the lid of the main area, but we'll get into that in just one second. I'm carrying around 2 camera bodies currently. The way that this pack is laid out, there's a little bit of a tilt in there. So this end of the pack is a little bit more shallow than this end of the pack. So I can't carry 2 full camera bodies with lenses on them in this pack like I can in other packs. Again, that Airport Extreme that I have from ThinkTank as well. As far as my cameras go, pretty straightforward. I'm a Sony shooter. I'm shooting an A7R Mark IV. My main bread and butter lens that I use more than anything is the 135. I do a lot of portraiture, a lot of headshots. So my 135 lives on here. Lens hood is on, cap is on. It's always ready to go. And as you could see, I have the vertical grip attached, the battery grip. I love the vertical grips. House 2 batteries in here. I could shoot pretty much all day. I don't have to worry about swapping out batteries. Also, it makes it easier for charging, which we'll talk about in a moment. My second camera is the exact same thing, another A7R Mark IV, vertical grip as well. Again, just no room to mount another lens on here because of the height of this grip. If I didn't have the grip on here, I could put that other camera right here and have this space. But overall, it works out okay. As far as lenses go, I'm pretty boring. There's no other way to say it. I don't do action, I don't do wildlife, I don't do anything like that anymore, so I don't have any zoom lenses in this pack. I'm mostly a prime lens shooter. Now, the one lens is being used to shoot this, and that is the 20mm that's up there at top. So that's missing out of there. That's what would usually go in here, and in its space I have some Peak neck straps here. I have another one here. Let's go ahead and just get rid of that. There we go. So the 20mm would live normally right in this little area here. And you'll see that I have labeling. I have gaff tape to label all my lenses so they stand out. My other lenses, again, 135 on a camera, 20mm up top. I have a 35mm. This is another Sony lens. All of my glasses Sony. It's not a snobbish thing. There's just all of my glasses Sony. This is a Sony 35mm 1.4 G Master. I also have the 50mm 1.2 G Master as well. So 35 and 50 are fairly close, but the reason why I have the 50 is because I don't carry an 85 anymore. I did a video on my lens reviews. I found that the 85 and the 135 look so similar, and I just preferred the 135, that my 50 is kind of that bridge between 35 and 135. Lens cap for my 20mm. There we go. And by the way, I'll do another video on this someday, but label everything. Makes life a lot easier. I have a few of the, now and then when you get something shipped, you get those little silicone gel packs. I throw a few of them in here. I don't live in a really humid climate, so I don't have to worry about that too much. I do have a little pouch here for my lens stuff. So that is just a whole bunch of lens wipes, another little silicone gel here. I have a lens pen that somebody gave me recently that I threw in here that works out well. But I have a bunch of little lens wipes and stuff like that. I need to throw a microfiber cloth in here before I forget. As far as other stuff goes, I do have some lighting in this bag, believe it or not. My go-to or my favorite light for location work at the moment is the Profoto A2. This is AKA the soda can. And you're seeing these lights come in other, or this form factor come from other manufacturers as well. It has a magnetic front here. The battery is missing, which I'll talk about in just one second. It comes with a case, but the padding on this pack is so good that I don't worry about it. I just run it without. I don't run a bracket on here either. So there's no bracket going in. And that's because the magnetic front, I put it on a click softbox. I've done a little bit of a video on that. I'm going to do a more in-depth review. And if you want to see that, please let me know in the comments on the whole Profoto click system. But the A2 is great. The soda can, 100 watt seconds. We'll set that one over there. This other area is kind of dedicated to all things Profoto. So I have some filters in here. This kind of like, it's almost like a little makeup case, to be honest with you. So I have some stuff in there. In this taller pouch, which I can't remember what this housed, but I repurposed it. I have some modular or add-on items from Profoto. Let's pull them out. So this is the old school gel filter or holder. It's a hard plastic that you could change out. Profoto's gone through a lot of different iterations for their gel system. So this was the old school one. I have a Fresnel lens that I bought for the A2. Still haven't used it yet. You got me, Profoto. You suckered me into it. I bought it. I don't know if I need it, but I bought it. And as you can see, as I'm pulling these things apart, they're all magnetized. I have a grid just to kind of keep things down. This is a 10 Yeah, 10-degree grid. And then I have the generic gel holder from Profoto. This is relatively new, so this way you could cut your own gels. So you don't have to give Profoto money if you don't want to. Speaking of gels, I took a Profoto gear case and I've just repurposed some gels in here for storage. So there you go. So I have one light with me at all times to do that. Other stuff that's in this main compartment, relatively straightforward. I have a little memory card holder here. Don't you have to use it too much because I don't shoot past the size of my cards anymore, but there are some backup cards just in case. I have the old school X-Rite color checker. I think this is Calibrate, the company now. So I have that in there. And the reason why I have these two items here and not in another area where you would normally put them in a pack will become a little bit more evident later on in the review. This is the one item that doesn't fit anywhere. I have a Lee 100 filter system. So this is the holder that holds the square filters, and I have some rings in here for adapting onto the lenses as well. There's just no other good place to put this. I'll show you where the filters are in a little bit, but this is just a little bit easier. It's a little bit more fragile, but there you go. So that's the main compartment, I think. Yep, there you go. It's hard to see in this video, but you can feel where this pack suspension system is inside of this particular compartment. And I'm sorry that it's so dark inside of there, but you can feel it, and you can just feel like there's just this huge amount of space here where there's just not nearly as much space on this side. So if you had to complain about this pack, it's not like a lot of other ThinkTank packs where it's essentially a rectangular box that's even in height all the way across. It doesn't have that. It also does have this nice feature where you can unvelcro and unzip this compartment and pull it out. So if you were on a plane, this is probably bigger than carry-on, so it does make it a little bit easier to put your lenses on there. As far as the lid goes, I don't carry a lot of crazy stuff simply because this compartment sometimes gets really full. I have a lens cap, I have some small tools. There's a challenge coin in here from an organization that I work with a lot. This top area here, I have all of my batteries. I'll just pull out a couple. The two that I carry the most around are, I have two Sony batteries here, and I number them so it's easier to know which ones are which. And then I have the Profoto batteries, which go on my Profoto system here. There we go. Profoto is a little finicky about transporting batteries, so I don't carry around or carry the batteries with me at all times. I just put them in and just then plug them in as I need to. There we go. I knew it was in the wrong way. So I just carry them around that way. So batteries are not in the units when I transport them. Profoto is a little weird about their battery system on that level, so I do that. One thing you'll notice that's missing in here is I do not carry around any chargers. Even though this could be a multiple day pack that I take with me, that's because now both of my Sony cameras have the USB-C on the side of here, so I just plug it into a charger, run it, and that's another nice thing about the vertical grip is I could charge two batteries at once. It'll charge one all the way through and then it'll charge the second, and I really like that because it makes it easier. So my top lid's pretty empty in regards to the stuff that's storage, and that's mostly because if I put too much stuff in there, then what happens is I can't close this lid, and I don't want to worry about damaging the zippers or anything like that. So that is the main compartment, or where most of the money is. Let's just zip that up. There we go. Since I have this here, the little hip belt compartment here, I really like. This is items that I might need as I'm walking with this. So it usually boils down to safety or illumination. I always have a flashlight in here. So there we go. And then I have a headlamp as well. I carry two, just in case somebody needs a flashlight. I don't have to give them my headlamp, but I have a headlamp as well. That works out. This headlamp also has the red lamp on it, so if I'm doing, not that I do a lot of it, astro work, I have that. I have one tie down. I don't know where the other one is, but sometimes I'll have a few tie downs just in case. And then the good old-fashioned Swiss Army knife. Why not? I talk about things that you should carry with you at all times in another video. I'll include that link in the description below so you can look at that. But these are a few of the items that I think that you should always have. And I have it on, again, I have it on my hip belt. So if I'm walking and it's starting to get late, or I'm walking into a studio, it's dark, or I'm leaving a studio and it's dark, I know where my flashlights are. If I need to grab a knife, I got to tighten something down, I know where it is. And it's also separated too. So that's a very nice feature. Now, we're gonna start to get into some limitations of the pack moving forward. One problem is once you set this down on the ground and you open up this lid and you have everything open here, if you wanna gain access to just about any other part of this pack, you have to close everything up as I've just done here. You gotta zip everything up. So one thing that I'm not wild about this pack, and it's just a workflow thing, is you have to get mentally in a place where you're like, oh, this is where I'm going to store this. I need to pull this out first. One item that I could get to no matter how the pack is laid down is the brain up here, is the brain up at the top. Now, I don't know what's the best angle to show you this at, but the brain has a zipper on the back. And in the brain, I think it's probably better to lay it down. In the brain, I keep it simple. I don't put anything in here that is super important. Why? Because this part of the pack, that's where rain's gonna hit it first. So if there's any moisture, if there's any rain, if there's anything when I'm putting this in a car or a case, anything in here could either crush or protect whatever I have in this bag. I don't have any protection, a lot of protection down here, although there is a significant amount of padding. So again, I don't put anything fragile in here. So for example, I have some, bars here as well. Oh, that's what, a little cable protector, although this goes in a different place, so we'll put that back. One thing I will tell you, and I've worked with a lot of people, I try to do this as well, is try to put everything back where it belongs, right? Because it's nothing worse than you're going through. I was on a shoot where somebody forgot their flashlight. It's like, how come you don't keep it in the pack? Those kinds of things. Of course, keep things charged. The rest of the brain is really all about waterproofing. So for example, this is a waterproof shell. It's just rolled up in its hood. So that's from North Face. It's not Gore-Tex or anything, but it will keep me dry in a light drizzle. It will keep me dry, moderately dry in a heavy rain as long as I'm not out in it a lot. That's really nice to have. That has actually been very useful. I have the actual rain cover for this. And by the way, this is the Backpack Elite. This is 45 liter. And how do I know that? Because ThinkTank's so good. They label everything. So if it got really wet, started to rain down on me, I could throw a shell over the backpack. I live in northern Nevada. That doesn't happen. How little does it happen? This is rain gear for a telephoto lens that I bought many, many moons ago. It's never left the packaging. However, you never know, so that's what I put in the brain. It's all nice and stuffy, so I have padding built into there. Plus, if I needed to get to a raincoat or get to something really quick, I'm not digging into the pack. It's also not super heavy. I put bars just about everywhere, but I'll throw through a few bars in the top of that as well. Now, underneath the brain, as I mentioned, there are these straps here that you can disconnect and turn this into a fanny pack. And I might just pull these off for the rest of this video. There we go. Let's get it out of the way so it's a little bit easier to see. So you can take the brain off if you needed to, and you could get it into a little bit of a smaller profile if you had to fit it on overhead or something like that, or if it was in your way. So with the brain removed, you have another top lid here. Now this top lid is almost impossible to get to with the pack laying down and the brain on it. You have to flip the brain over. You really have to stand up the pack. So in my head, what am I putting in here? I'm putting in items either that I just need to get one time for a shoot, or items that I would get if the pack was standing upright. Let's get that in a better position. There we go. So the first items on the list here is I have a little Beats by Dre bag that I bought, and this is just holding cables. It's actually holding that cable catcher that I found in the other area, so it does that. I have some other cleaning rags here, and there's my microfiber, so I just have it in a separate spot. The reason why is because the other two items that are in here are lens filters. So I'm gonna pull these out, and you can just see there's a fair amount of space. And by the way, the top part of the lid, the pack, is here with all the lenses. So if you were actually camping and you wanted not to take this around, you could pull out the case and you could fill it up, and you could gain access by going through the top here if you need be. So that's a nice feature. I'll just zip this up so I know it's closed. But as far as what else that I'm carrying in here, this is the Lee system. So I have, there we go, a circular polarizer by Lee in here that goes into that bracket that I showed you earlier on. And the only reason why the bracket's not in here is it just doesn't fit well. I'm worried about that little tightening thumb screw breaking off. And then I have a collection of ND and graduated ND filters. I don't have a lot, but I have a few of them in here. So, you know, there's a graduated ND. And I have also a 10 stop somewhere in here. There we go. So Big old piece of ND. I'm not a huge landscape shooter. This doesn't get used nearly as much, but I have the system, so I put it on the top. And the logic there is if I'm doing any sort of landscape work, the pack's going to be down like this. It's going to be leaning against a tripod, leaning against a rock. I'm going to use that nice rubber boot on the bottom to keep things dry. So that's why I put it there, but it is not a great access point. Now the front side of the pack, actually I have two pouches here off to the side. Now the pouches off to the side, I've hauled around light stands. I've jammed them in there. You have the side straps here to hold them closed. That works as well. You could also put light stands in these little loops right here. It's a relatively lightweight or something like that. Also trekking poles, if you, I have trekking poles now, so if you needed that for additional weight. But on these side pockets, what I'm currently carrying right now is on this side, I have this hard case, and on this side, I have this black case. I'll pull those out. And then I have that. Let's set this aside. So on these two side pouches here, I have items, again, that I may need to get to at any particular time, no matter what, and they deploy easily. So in this hard red Pelican waterproof case, I have 2 Profoto transmitters plus some spare batteries. So that allows me to be able to control wirelessly my A2 here, of course with batteries inside of it. So I have that. So I have the batteries good to go. This particular transmitter is the Sony TTL, and this other transmitter is generic. So I have 2 cameras, I have 2 transmitters, and then I have backup batteries for both. And of course the beauty of that is this case is a nice hard Pelican case. It's waterproof. So putting it on the outside of the pack, it's not going to get damaged. You really have to bang on it. My other item is the Profoto A1. I think this is actually an A10. No battery in here either. It has the little dome diffuser, and you can see how magnetic that is. So this is my on-camera flash. If I'm doing events or anything like that, I have this available to me. It's also another light source. So I actually have not 1, but 2 lights for me location in this pack as well. And that other item that I pulled out of the side pouch is a little umbrella adapter. So take a light stand or 2 with me and I'm good to go. I'm doing remote lighting. And again, it's so much stuff that I can put in here. If I needed to carry more lenses, obviously I probably would put my lighting in another bag, but I'm happy with my lens configuration right now, so I'm nice that I can fit lights in here. Speaking of additional configurations, this is the only thing that really changes from one shoot to the next shoot is what goes in this compartment here that has waterproof zippers. Now, again, you can't get to this compartment easily if the pack is on its side and also if you have straps that are holding stuff together. So you would have to pull these items out before you dropped it down to get into your actual pouch here. So what this holds is one of 2 things. This can hold either a laptop cable system or a hydration system. So at the moment, I have a laptop, a MacBook Pro, relatively new. There we go. We'll set that down gently. I carry at the bottom of this big behemoth here, we'll put that more on camera. I carry a charger and the new MagSafe cable in here. So the laptop goes in this pouch right here for the upper view, and then this kind of large bag here. And you can see how far this opens up. I mean, even if you couldn't zip this up, you could use the side straps here to close this. So if you were really in a pinch, like you had to haul some soft boxers or something that were too tall, you could definitely do it inside of here. And the other item that I have, which is kind of in a weird mesh sleeve, is I have my tethering cables. There's one of them, but this will hold a fair amount. Now, if I'm not tethering and I am hiking in a long way in, I need to stay hydrated. You need to stay hydrated. So I have this pouch here that you drop in your hydration system. There's this little notch here, and you feed your tube through there, and it comes out on here, and then you run it down on one of your shoulder straps. And there you go. And depending on how big the bladder is from the whatever system, I run Camelback. That's nothing, neither here or about it. They're not sponsoring this video, but you have that amount of water. And it's great because now I have my pack, I have my water, there you go. I would not have a laptop and a hydration pack in here. That's gonna violate a warranty no matter how you look at it. So that is the main kind of back pouch here. And it does have a little bit of protection. If I can find the other strap, there we go. This pack is so light right now. Oh yeah. The other pouch here is this kind of external pouch. Now you could get to this without flipping this over. This pouch here with the laptop if you had the brain installed, you got to flip the brain back to get to here. But this pouch, you could get at any time, so it's easy to access. But it is the thing that comes in contact with the ground. This looks waterproof. It is not. So what I put in here is, again, very much like with the brain. I put stuff that weather permitting, any of those other kind of things I need to get to. So I have like a little ditty bag here. I have some tissues. Sometimes I'll throw chapstick or small thing of sunscreen. I got to change that out for the seasons. I actually have an old sensor cleaning thing in here, which is probably not the best place for it. You can see that the case is dented. It doesn't even close anymore. So time to upgrade that. What I do carry with me in here, no matter what time of the year, is I have some fingerless gloves. These are from Patagonia. They're great for, I think they were for fly fishing. It's not going to keep your hands toasty warm in all conditions, but even in cool conditions, I'll put these on. Takes that coldness of holding a cold camera away. They have a little bit of a leather palm here, so they could be a makeshift work glove, hauling stuff around if need be, but these are always in the pack. I also have a beanie or a toque for those people in Canada. They call these things toque. A knit hat that's windproof as well. You can see all the husky hair on it. I have, another lens cleaning little thing here. I should actually move that because, as I mentioned, it might get a little wet or moist in there. It's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving in here. I bought this hat. I didn't choose the color on it, but I bought this. I've heard people call this a boonie hat, jungle hat, whatever that it is. I was doing a multi-day shoot, assisting actually on a dry lake bed. I forgot my sun hat. I bought this at Walmart. It's the only thing that they had. But now I just keep it in my bag because, you know, why not? And that's about it. And I usually throw some bars in here. Now, again, this little area here is not waterproof. I have picked this up and then found these gloves to be damp. I mean, are they soaking wet? No. And certainly between that and here, it's going to keep my laptop dry, but of course I wouldn't be setting this down on, you know, snow or anything. I wouldn't be taking my laptop out on that, but I do worry about some waterproof stuff. So one thing I should add in here, probably in here, as I mentioned in another video, again, a garbage bag. You know, throw down a garbage bag. It's always nice to have a garbage bag with you. Find any litter on your way out. You could keep the world a little bit cleaner. It's good for a shoot too. If you do have stuff that needs to be thrown away or something like that, it's great for rain protection, an impromptu poncho, an impromptu flag, or a bounce if you get a white garbage bag or something like that. But I would put that down and put that here, even though that this pack is somewhat water resistant. It's not waterproof. As you saw, it has, you know, some sort of rain poncho that comes with it to keep you dry as well. But overall, that's what I'm carrying. Multiple cameras, some prime lenses, a couple of flashes. I'm out and about. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing it with one pack now. Everything's compartmentalized. The only thing that's really missing here that I would need on a shoot that I would strap in would maybe be a light stand or two. And I would take my Profoto Click softbox, which is one of my favorite location light modifiers. And even if I didn't want to strap it to the back, which I would strap it to the backpack, but if I didn't want to, I still now have both arms free. I could carry stuff around, make life a little bit easier. The ThinkTank bag has definitely changed my workflow as far as just making it easier to carry all of this stuff around, so I'm thankful for that. There's a lot of other backpack systems out there that offer a lot of similar features. ThinkTank has also just released a few, I think it's called First Light, that are kind of similar to this as well. It has a few more handles, maybe a little bit more airport friendly, but overall, it's a great system. I'm super happy with my gear. I look forward to reading in the comments what you're carrying around in your everyday pack. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends in the photo or video community. And until next time, I'm MD Welch wishing you all the best from PhotoKitchen.